Hi guys, welcome back to another video. It's been a few weeks since my last one, so I apologise for the delay in getting another video out. Not ideal. I really need to be doing them a bit more frequently, but I think the reason I've not done one is because there's not really been much happening over the last couple of weeks. It's been the longest game week ever, this game week 23, because I think by the time Watford play their second game of game week 23, it will be almost 2 weeks since the last game of the game week. It's the longest game week I've ever known, I think, but such are the current times with the postponements, etc. So I'm just what I'm going to do in this. I'm just going to sort of give you an update on how my own team has been doing since I last spoke to you guys, and I'm also going to give you my views on game week 26 double weeks. Obviously, news released yesterday that there's 8 teams that are going to have double weeks in game week 26. So, I'm just going to give some of my thoughts on that. But yeah, I think when I last left you guys, I think we were halfway through game week 21, which was the West Ham double week, if you remember. I think we were just waiting for the second West Ham game. So that second game was absolutely fantastic for me. I got 2 goals from Bowen, who was my captain. I got a clean sheet from Diop and a bonus point. A rare clean sheet for West Ham, but yeah, fantastic. And also for me, I I don't have Antonio, and he did nothing, and he was extremely highly owned that week. So that couldn't have gone any better for me. And what I would say about that as well is sometimes in this game we get very focused on the bad times, and when we do have the rub of the green, I think it's easier to kind of almost brush it under the carpet and just sort of not be appreciative of it. But I tell you what, for me, that evening when West Ham played that second game, I was at work on a late shift. I didn't follow the match because I was busy, and I'd had a really bad time at work. And I just tuned in to the score at the end and saw what had happened, and it just gave me a real lift just when I needed it. So that's been stored away in the memory for me to perhaps draw on the next time I'm getting down on FPL and thinking that it's always going against me. It doesn't. You do get times when it's you know things go for you. So after that week, that propelled me up to 77k overall. Unfortunately, since then I've had a bit of a horror couple of game weeks really, and yet again largely down to Ronaldo for the upteenth time this season. United had a double week. He didn't play the first game, despite the quotes from the manager saying that he was expected to play. He played the second game, did nothing, and got subbed off around 60 minutes. So yet another blank, and yet again as captain again. And of course, Bruno Fernandes, who a lot of people brought in, got as far as I'm concerned, a really fortunate, huge score. Um, Fernandes has done absolutely nothing for weeks and weeks and weeks. His stats have been poor, and all of a sudden, just because there was nobody else, a lot of people brought him in for the double just because of lack of other options, and he picks that week to get a huge score and returns in both matches. Hugely fortunate as far as I'm concerned. Yes, I am a little bit salty about it, but that's the game, isn't it? That's what can happen. Of course, I didn't have him because I didn't think he was a good option. But anyway, so that was that week, and then this week's been awful as well. The only good thing about this week is that I think it's been a bad week for a lot of people. So the average score was only 30, which is my score at the moment. I have got King to play, who's my captain. So in actual fact, even if he can just get an assist tomorrow, it will probably be a green arrow after what's really been a horrendous week. I brought in Dennis, and it's just so annoying how these things can happen because Watford played on the Friday, so the deadline was a couple of hours before. I was humming and hawing. I really wanted to roll. I had two free transfers. I'd used one of them on Rafina, brought him in, and I really wanted to roll the transfer because it's nice to have two. But I thought, you know what? I eventually thought, no, I'm going to get Dennis just because Watford have got two games. The fixtures are quite good as well. Dennis has obviously been fantastic this season and he's going to be massively owned. I just thought, you know what, I think I need to get him. And look what happens. He gets sent off, gets a -1. If I hadn't have made that move, I would have got Bowen to play because I benched him. So I'd have been 3 points better off plus a transfer in hand. So yeah, that was a bit of a disaster. But it can still be not a bad week if King can do something. So that's where I am at the moment. I'm 102k at the moment, still with obviously that Watford game to come tomorrow. I'm hoping that if King can just get something out of that, then I'll be back in the top 100k. It's a good pit position to be. There's so many game weeks left. Top 10k is still doable, I feel. So I'm quite happy with the way things are going. Now, yesterday we had a double game week announced for game week 26, and there are 8 teams with double weeks. So I'm just opening up another tab here. So these are the teams. So Burnley, Spurs, Watford, Palace, Liverpool, Leeds, Arsenal, and Wolves. They all play twice. And I have to be honest, when I looked at that and looked at my team, so I'm just going to show you basically how my team looks right now, bearing in mind we're still only in game week 23 and the double week isn't for another few weeks. But currently, without even doing any transfers yet, I have 8 players in my squad who have double weeks game week 26. Arnold, Reguilon, Rafinha, Jota, Saka, Ramsdale, King, and Dennis. So I feel that I'm quite well set. I don't need to go berserk with double weeks. I don't need to cram as many players as I can in just because they've got doubles. And this is what, as a general rule, I actually quite dislike double game weeks because there's a tendency to be diverted away from the players who you really want because you're holding out for the double weeks. And it's happened. I've done it so many times before in previous seasons where there's been a double week announced for in 3 or 4 game weeks time, and I spend the whole time thinking about which double week players to bring in. In the meantime, ignoring other options who don't have double weeks, and in the process, missing all their points in the meantime. So you have to be careful. You don't get too tunnel vision. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't feel like I need to deviate a lot from my transfer plans for this week, and I'm probably still going to crack on with this move, was going to be Alonso to Laporte, which I'm probably still going to do. Now, I will have Salah. You would have to be an absolute mentalist not to have Salah for that game week 26. Norwich at home and Leeds at home. It doesn't get any better than that. So that will be 9 with him in there as well. And actually, the players who don't double, like Bowen, West Ham have got, I think they've got Newcastle game week 26. That's a fantastic single fixture. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to even contemplate using any chips at all because there's just no justification for it. I've seen a lot of talk on Twitter about the blank in game week 27, and there's a lot of people that seem to be tempted to free hit in that week. So game week 27, there are 4 teams who don't play, and they are Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester, and Liverpool. Now, the dilemma that people are anticipating is that game week 26 you'll have 3 Liverpool. You have to have 3 Liverpool. You just have to with those fixtures. But some people, including myself, will also have at least maybe 1, 2, or even 3 Arsenal players. Now, obviously, the problem that creates, great for game week 26, but game week 27, your team is then depleted of 6 players from your squad that won't have a game. And because of that, people are thinking, oh, we free hit. Now, as far as I'm concerned, so I am probably going to be in that category. I'm going to have 3 Liverpool and 2 Arsenal. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that can easily be navigated around without using the free hit, because with your free transfers and even taking a -4, and especially if one of those players is a keeper. So for me, Ramsdale, I've got Ramsdale and De Gea, so I can just bench Ramsdale and play De Gea. So basically, I could still field 10 or even 11 players with a no worse than probably a -4. Um, so for me, that is a much better scenario. I would rather lose 4 points and keep the free hit for later on in the season, because I just feel there's going to be better weeks to use that chip to target. So there's going to be more blank weeks, probably when there will be more teams that don't play, and just by virtue of that, you've got the more justification there. If you've got 8, 9 players without a game, then you are in free hit territory there. I guess there are going to be people at the moment with Arsenal, Liverpool, Leicester, and Chelsea players possibly. If you are in that scenario come game week 26, then yeah, you could have justification to free hit. But I'm guessing that who do have, especially Chelsea players, are going to start to transfer them out before then anyway. So yeah, and also there's going to be plenty more double weeks to target. So those I've mentioned this before on previous videos. The chips are so precious; they really are. If you can navigate around these problem weeks without using a chip, I think you should certainly look to do that. Because what I'm hoping is that from game week 30 onwards, I'm going to have hopefully all my chips intact, and if other people have used some of theirs, you're going to be at a massive advantage, because don't forget, as I've mentioned before, this game is all about how you can gain an edge on other people at play, whether that be if you've got chips left that other people haven't. So it's always that balancing act. But you just got to think, can I navigate around these problem weeks just with my normal transfers, and maybe even with the odd -4? And I think that's a better thing to do, personally. But so yeah, yeah. So they're my thoughts on the double weeks. For me, I don't really think there's a lot to see. As the saying goes, there's not much to see here. Not for my team anyway. Um, the only problem is that I just because yeah, what I also need to mention is obviously we've got another double week game week 25, but only 2 teams play now. Again, for me, I would rather we didn't have that, because to be quite honest with you, I'm sick to death of my forwards. I'm sick of Josh King. He hasn't scored for. I know he's cheap, but he hasn't done anything. He's not scored for I don't know how long. Let's just have a look. When did he last score a goal? I mean, look at all this. Game week 13 was the last time he scored. Sick of him. I'm sick to death of Ronaldo as well, as I've mentioned so many times before. But because of the double weeks, and this is the problem it can cause, you almost feel forced into keeping hold of them. But yeah, I just really want to just get rid of them all and just have a complete refresh of my forwards, and maybe look at players like Calvert Lewin, St Maximum. I don't know. The problem is there's so few options in the forwards, isn't there? There's just nobody is doing well. there's nobody that you look at and think, oh, I could really do with getting him. The expensive strikers, the likes of Kane and Ronaldo, just aren't really doing enough, and even the cheaper guys aren't really doing much either. So it's a real problem area at the moment. So for the time being, I think I'm just going to have to keep those guys in. It's not ideal because I'm sick of them. I'm sick of some of my players. I'm just getting so bored of them. I do feel like I'd like to have a little bit of a revamp, but because of the double weeks, you kind of, you're almost a little bit trapped because you do have to try and take advantage of the doubles because everyone else is going to. It's you do have to find the balance between, yes, you do need the double week guys in, but don't ignore other players like the likes of the Villa players, Man City, just because they don't double, because you run the risk of missing out on points in the meantime. So yeah, they're my thoughts at the moment. That's what I'm looking at in terms of how I'm going to set up for game week 24. This is how I'm looking. I'm sick of the Watford guys. Just there's been so poor lately, so I'm going to bench both King and Dennis. Alonso will be Laporte, who I will play for probably. In fact, let's do this now. We'll take Diop out, put Alonso in, because Alonso will become Laporte when I do the transfer. I'll actually probably stick Diop up the order because they've got a home game against Watford. I think I fancy them getting a clean sheet more than I fancy the Watford players scoring a goal at the moment. But I may change that. I don't know. But we'll do that for now. That's my team for this week. I did have Ramsdale in goal because I don't trust Man United ever to get a clean sheet. But as you know, I am a big fan of bookmakers' odds, and actually Man United have a better odds of a clean sheet than Arsenal. So as much as that goes against the grain a little bit, I'm just going to go with that. It's close. It's close between. I think. Let me just. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was something like United have got a 45% chance of a clean sheet, and Arsenal have a 40%. So it's a big enough difference for me to just go with De Gea. If it was closer, I might have gone with Ramsdale. But it's a fit. Well, it's kind of a 50-50 thing. It'll either go one way or it doesn't. One way or the other. Sorry. So yeah, that's how I'm looking. It's actually looking all right for this week. Lot of players with good fixtures. I'm going to captain Cancelo. Because I do think he's the best option this week. Always prefer him over Foden. Foden for me, I'm never sure he's going to play. I think Cancelo is the more solid pick as a captain because you've got there's so many ways he can get points. A bit like Trent, the clean sheets. You would think that a clean sheet is likely against Brentford at home. They don't really have much, do they? Of an attack, and they don't tend to offer much of a threat. I fancy a clean sheet there, and of course with Cancelo, there's always the possibility of attacking returns as well. So he is my captain at the moment. I just noticed actually that I have got the captain and vice captain on players from the same team, which is not something I'm normally comfortable with because of the postponement risk. But I get the feeling that the COVID situation is settling down now, so I may keep that as it is. If not, I might just stick the vice on Jota. So yeah, that's how I'm set up. As I say, I don't want Ronaldo, but I'm probably going to have to keep him now because of the double game week 25, and I think I probably won't bring Salah in until, well, actually, no, I might. Yeah, it's going to have to be game week 26, isn't it? Because yeah, so we'll get the double week in for United. I'll play Ronaldo for that. Probably won't get Salah at all now until Game Week 26 because I need the funds from Ronaldo to be able to get him. So that's how I'm fixed. That's the team. I think my team looks all right for this week. And that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video. I've had a few more subscribers lately, which is good. So yeah, like to keep that going. So yeah, that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.